Boom! Welcome back to the Sebs Show, ladies and gentlemen. It's my third attempt at making this fucking video. If you guys don't believe me or not, but like, my computer's crashed twice already, so if it crashes again, I'm probably gonna have to record this on my iPhone this time. I have to figure out the fuck's going on here, but hopefully it doesn't crash and we can get this video out. Yeah, so let's start it quick so hopefully it doesn't crash. I've already done like fucking 2 breakdowns. Literally got to Lewis and Hunt twice now, and it crashed as soon as I get to Lewis and Hunt. So it's fucking ridiculous. But let's start off. UFC Fight Pass early prelims. We got Dong Kim versus T-Ball Gouti. Quick on the Maestro here. Had a war against Paulo Reyes. Great fucking fight. Got fight of the night. Sorry guys, just looking quick here. Yeah, I got fight of the night against Paulo Reyes. He swings for the fences a lot. I feel though, like even in that fight, I know he was hurt and he was just trying to hurt Paulo Reyes, which he did at times. So he does pack a punch in his hand, but he ended up getting finished in that 3rd round there. His chin, I wouldn't say he has a great fucking chin. He has a good chin, a lot better chin than Gouti has. Guti's been knocked out by Chad Priest. He is chinny. He has back-to-back losses, right, to OAM by rear naked choke, and then he got knocked out by Chad Priest. I see Dong Kim knock him out 2nd round. Passing on this from a betting perspective. But I see Dong Kim winning this fight. Next up, we got Aldrich taking on the newcomer Chan Min-joon. She's 19 years old, this Chan Min-joon girl. She's from South Korea. Not much tape on her. She has some knockouts, didn't see much film, but I know JJ's has some Invicta experience. She was on the Ultimate Fighter, and she has UFC experience. She trains with Rose Norman Eunice. She's scrappy, and if it hits the floor, like she has a good get-up game. She has pretty good boxing. I see her outboxing this Jeon girl. This is a total pass for me, guys. I wouldn't be mad at somebody taking the over 2.5 rounds here, but JJ might even finish her. So this is honestly a complete pass for me, guys. But I am going with Aldrich to win this one. Next up, we got Zach, the Barbarian Ottow versus Kunimoto, and start with Zach Ottow. So Zach Ottow, last fight was not his last fight. His first fight in the UFC was on short notice against Josh Berkman, the veteran, which he won. Switches stances a lot, nice leg kicks, keeps his hands high, which I do like. He's ready to counter at any time with his hands high. He's a big boy for 170. He has good and fast combos, good hands, nice takedowns, and his combos are like super diverse. Like he strikes to the body, to the head, to the legs. So clean technical striking. He's always threatening with submissions. He has 9 submission victories. He has nice takedowns in his before the UFC, the fights I watched. He has some nice takedowns. So he's very strong on the ground, very fluid at holding the position or finishing the submission. He's opportunistic on submissions and taking the back, and is very, very fluid with his striking as well, guys. I see him really, really holding down Kunimoto. If it hits the floor, he holds down Kunimoto, beats him the fuck up. But I see the standing and him just piecing up Kunimoto over 3 rounds, if not knocking him out maybe in the 3rd round, the later rounds, because Kunimoto does gas in later rounds. He is coming off I think it's a 2-year layoff for Kunimoto. As you see, still wearing those Venom shorts. So shoots for a takedown early and often, which gasses him out. Not a very technical stand-up. Throws like a looping left hand. He's good on the ground. He has some submission wins, but like stand-up wise, if he's going with Zach Ottow, super stiff on the feet against a guy with very fluid movement, recipe for disaster. I like Ottow in this one, so I put 2.5 units on Ottow. And I see Ottow piecing him up just like Richard Walsh fucked him up, you know? Richard Walsh fucked up Kunimoto. He should have got that win, even though it was a controversial split decision, whatever. Kunimoto ended up winning, congratulations, but I see Ottow winning this. I like Ottow a lot here. I have 2.5 units on him, parlayed with somebody later in the card. But yeah, I do have Zach the Barbarian Ottow in this one. Next up, we have Jeon Moraga versus the newcomer Askin Mokhtarian. From the little tape I've done on Askin, good. Sorry, not very good at anything. Not not great at anything. All right takedowns. Ground and pound. Pretty good ground and pound. I see him finish some guys on the ground there. It's where he likes to be, where he's most comfortable. But this guy does not, like, the way he shoots for his takedown, it's not going to work against a 2-time All-American from the University of Arizona and Jeon Moraga. He doesn't set up his takedowns at all with any strikes. He just shoots for the takedown, which is a recipe for disaster again against Jeon Moraga, who has very good boxing. I thought when he started threatening that takedown against Sergio Pettis, his strikes started to come along, and he's putting together some nice boxing combinations. I see him piecing up Askin on the feet here. I didn't find any footage on Askin that wowed me at all. Shouldn't really, he's not a UFC, he's not Jeon Moraga caliber, I'd say. Maybe he's UFC caliber, who knows, but I don't think he's Jeon Moraga caliber. Jeon Moraga should take this one handedly, guys. Look for him to actually employ his will and take down Askin at will and beat him the fuck up on the floor. If not, look at him for knockout on standing up. But I think this is a second round knockout / TKO. If not, if this goes all 3 rounds to 30-26, I see an absolute mauling by Jeon Moraga. I took a 1 unit shot on him, parlayed with 2 other fighters in the card. But yeah, I like Jeon Moraga a lot here, guys. Next, I got Jumeau, the Jedi, versus Dominic Steele. This is a pass for me from a betting perspective, guys. Don't know what I'm getting with this newcomer, the Jedi. I see he has some knockouts on his victory from the film I watched, some power in his hands. Trains, I want to say he's a Tiger Muay Thai guy, but I'm not sure. Dom Steele, on the other hand, good wrestling, knocked out Dong Young Kim with a body slam, actually, off a guillotine attempt. Knocked him out and then some vicious ground and pound right afterwards. But this one was a little bit hard for me to call before pre-tape, and after tape it's still hard for me to call. I'll go with the Jedi here, the newcomer, just because Dom Steele, I know he can put that pressure on you of relentless takedowns and whatnot, but he's a little bit chinny, and I don't trust that against a guy fighting in his hometown, a young kid. I'm not sure if this guy's young, actually, I forgot to check his age, but this guy, Jumeau, the Jedi, I see him knocking out Dom Steele and winning this by first round knockout. Yeah, so that's my pick. Feel free to disagree, obviously. Not super confident in that one, but that's my pick. Next up, we got Vince from Hell Pichel and Damian Beatdown Brown. Both these guys actually Damian fighting out of Australia. I thought they were, for some reason, guys, I thought they were both Australian. But yeah, so Damian fighting close to home. He's from Australia. Had a nice knockout win over Cesar's Miranda. Some good submission defense he showed. Has some serious power in his hands. Some good movement. Alright takedown defense. But stand-up wise, really good boxing. Nice crisp boxing. If this stays standing up, look for Damian to win. And Vince is coming off a 3-year plus layoff. His last fight was May 24th, 2014 or something like that. Don't ask me why I'm so good with numbers, but I'm pretty sure that was his last fight. So, and he's relentless with his takedowns and his ground and pound and his top game. So if this does hit the mats, look for Vince to win this. And I don't really see Damien stopping his takedown, so I think Vince does take this fight to the ground and ends up not finishing him, but maybe 29-28 because Damien might win a round, let's say, and pick him apart. But yeah, I see the takedowns being a real factor in this one. Not betting this, probably another pass. Might take a little stab, but I don't think so. But I have Vince Pichel in this one, guys. Finally, moving on to the main card here. We got Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus Mizuto Hirota. Very high on Alexander Volkanovski, guys. Fucking, sorry for saying fucking so much, but very high on him. He's a quick starter. His last fight was at lightweight. He's 5'5", so he's pretty small for lightweight. So this is his natural weight class. Actually, he was like the Australian Fighting Championship featherweight champion. So this is his natural weight class. I'm pretty sure he's the featherweight champion. But he's a quick starter, shoots for takedowns early and often, and he gets them. Nice overhand right, good boxing, heavy hands, one punch knockout power. This motherfucker has. I saw in some of the AFC fights. He has like heavy hands. And when I talk about heavy ground and pound, this guy has some serious ground and pound. Like you hear thumps, like just thumps when he's pounding on the guy from the bottom. When he was fighting Kasuya, it was like just heavy thumps you were hearing. And he looked extremely strong at 155. He has good takedown defense, and it looks like Hirota's like, that's like he doesn't like standing up. He's more of a grappler, so I think the takedown defense is going to come into effect. Volkanovski's the way stronger guy. He's going to keep him at bay because Ishihara kept standing up and stuffing his Hirota's takedowns at times. Hirota is the seasoned guy. He's like 35 or some shit like that. I see Volkanovski honestly putting a beating on him as he did in his first fight. I see him doing the same here, being even stronger at 145, looking stronger. Finishing this fight on the ground, probably a second round TKO for Volkanovski, but I'm super confident in him, guys. I know he did get taken down in his last fight, but it was off like a wild hook, and like he got right back up. So I'm not worried about like the grappling too much there at all, if all at any. I like Volkanovski a lot here. Probably my most confident pick on the card. I have 6 units total on him, but I have a 2.5 unit parlay with Volkanovski and Zach Ottow, and 4.5 units with Volkanovski and somebody later in the card. But I'm pretty high on Volkanovski here, guys. Yeah, I really like him. I don't see I see him doing the same thing he did in the first fight and just finishing this. So let's go to our next fight, which is Tim Elliott versus Ben Nguyen, guys. So been going back and forth on this one, pre-tape and post-tape. Tim Elliott, relentless takedowns, great submission defense as we saw against Demetrius Johnson. Showed a lot of fucking heart. Not like literally non-stop with his takedowns from beginning to the end of the fight, and non-stop in these transitions and these scrambles. He's always trying to tire. He's trying to literally make it the ugliest fight he can. And Ben 10 has some nasty knockout victories on his record. Fast hands, puts together some really nice combos actually with his knees and kicks. Heavy hands. He's slick in transitions. Like as soon as it hits the mat, He can jump from guard to half guard to full mount pretty fucking quickly. He has good jiu-jitsu, and he switches stances a lot. He is prone to takedowns, but he has pretty good wrestling. Could be a factor here against Elliot, though. The bigger factor is he has good submission defense. I think that's the bigger factor. I think Elliot's going to be looking for a submission a lot here. He was getting handled on the floor by Smoka, which is something else. If it hits the mats and it's like that type of fight, I edge with Elliot here, but Ben 10's really fast, man. Fast, powerful hands. I love how he switches stances mid-combo, a lot like Dominic Cruz. And Elliot, even though like he keeps coming forward and it looks like he's gassing shit, he'll keep coming forward. It doesn't matter, like I'm saying. But like if he's doing that against Ben 10 with his hands down, how he usually fights, I see him getting clipped. He's a very awkward fighter the way he fights, but I see Ben 10 being probably his toughest test. Obviously Demetrius was his toughest test, but like other than that, this is like most like Joseph Benavidez to Tim Elliott. I think like the way he switches his stances all the time, Ben 10. So I'm looking for a Ben 10 victory here. I didn't play this. Ben 10's actually almost a plus 200 at the moment. Didn't take the stab on him. I might. But yeah, the pick's Ben 10, guys. But I'm passing as for right now. Next up is... Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. Got scared there. I thought we crashed again. We got... Oh, there we go. We got Ion the Hulk Cutelaba versus Enrique Frankenstein de Silva. Pretty high on Cutelaba here. He has some really nice combos, crisp boxing, fucking tough guy, good chin, tons of like power, man, like one punch knockout power, like first round knockout power. That's what I mean. He has like tons of like I think until he hit the UFC, he's never seen a second round, and he showed off his chin against Cannonier. He has good takedowns as he has 12 years of Greco-Roman wrestling. Great cardio and pace for a light heavyweight, and he's really tough. Going against a guy like Enrique de Silva, who does not have good takedown defense at all, gets eaten up a lot at boxing range, got eaten up by Jonathan Wilson, I believe it was, who Cutelaba actually beat. He got boxed up by him. Jonathan Wilson got boxed up by Cutelaba and taken down at will and stuff, but Jonathan Wilson boxed up Enrique de Silva pretty badly, if you guys watched that fight. And then he fought Jordan Johnson, I think. I'm looking for that real quick. Yeah. And then, like, yeah, so he fought Jonathan Wilson. Then he fought Jordan Johnson, who's a fucking amazing wrestler. And he was eating a lot of shots against Jonathan Wilson in boxing range. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just like a stand-up isn't all there yet. He has, like, even though he has decent Muay Thai, it's not, like, the best stand-up. But, he was getting taken down, like, pretty fucking easy. And then even easier against Jordan Johnson, who's like an All-American from Iowa. Just relentless, rode him the whole fight. Nasty mauling he gave Enrique de Silva. Same thing with Paul Craig, relentless. Was just outstrike him on the feet as soon as they hit the floor. He did his thing and he tapped him out in the second round with a nice armbar. Enrique de Silva, I think is only... I know he has 1 or 2 wins in the UFC. I know he has that submission off his back against Joaquin Christensen, but I don't see him tapping out Cutelaba like that. I see Cutelaba absolutely mauling this guy, man. Who knows, it's light heavyweight, obviously anything can happen, but I really, really give the edge to Cutelaba. He's part of that 1 unit parlay with John Moraga and one more fighter in the card, guys, but I'm really giving the edge to Cutelaba here, the Hulk. So I picked him in that 1 unit parlay, and that's what I'm siding with here. Next up, we got Dan the Hangman Hooker versus Ross, the real deal Pearson. Dan Hooker moving up from 145 to 155. I think that's great for him. He was depleting himself at 145, trying to make the weight. He's huge for that weight class. He has a 75-inch reach, and he's 6 feet tall. I see this us seeing a even better Dan Hooker than we. I think he's like 3-1 in the UFC. Might have a different record. Call me out on it if he does. But man, he has really technical striking, fluid movement with his striking, and like the way he throws punches, everything in and out of range. I love how he does it. Very good submission defense. As you saw against Ian Entwistle, so his leg was in a very compromised position for that leg lock, and he just put his I believe he knee slid or did like a knee slice over and pushed his hips forward and just landed heavy shots for that TKO on Ian Entwistle. Just fucked him up. And I'm not saying like obviously like Ross not going to be doing the same stuff going for heel hooks or whatever, but that is something like Hooker does have really good jiu-jitsu. He's finished guys with guillotines, so look for the guillotine here as a factor whenever if Ross does want to wrestle, which he might be the better wrestler, but Hooker's better at jiu-jitsu. He likes to fight from the 50-50 clinch a lot, Hooker, or with like a wizard in at least, to throw like knees at the midsection. He keeps his hands down, like ready to sprawl for the takedown a lot, so he has really good takedown defense, and he switches stances a lot. Super fluid movement, like I was saying, in and out of range, good clinch work, and he's good against the cage. He's a rangy fighter, good forward pressure, and he's really good on the ground. Pearson, traditional boxing stance, hands high, short tight angles on his movement. He's an alright boxer, good feints, doesn't throw much volume. He's a pretty good wrestler, but I see him getting picked apart here on the outside by range here, by Hooker just using that reach advantage, especially being at home in New Zealand with the home crowd behind them. I see him picking apart Pearson. If he doesn't do it and knock him out in the later rounds, in like the second or third round, late second, early third, I see him getting a 30-27 decision. But pretty confident on Hooker, as I have him as the last piece of my one unit parlay with him, the Hulk, and Moraga to win like 2.7 units or something. But yeah, pretty confident in Hooker as well for this fight, guys. Next up, we got Derek Brunson versus Daniel Kelly. Very, very confident in Derek Brunson. I have 4.5 units on him. And Volkanovski, that's who I had paired up. So I have Volkanovski 2.5 units with Ottow, and then 4.5 units with him and Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson, I think this is a fucking very, very good matchup for him, as he's a great wrestler. I know Daniel Kelly's a great judo Olympian, but when you're going up against this young beast of Derek Brunson, get ready for these takedowns to come early. And his single leg takedown on that leg that's braced up, heavily taped up on Daniel Kelly, and those high crotch takedowns and those double legs, those are going to play a factor. And the way Kelly moves forward, and it's always forward pressure and lots of wild hooks, basic 1-2, and that brace limits his movement. So he has good takedowns against the cage, but like the way he moves forward, I see Brunson clipping him. Brunson has one punch knockout power, heavy fucking hands. I don't see him showing the same respect he showed Anderson Silva to Daniel Kelly. I see him still doing that blitz right at the beginning with his hands, with those heavy strikes trying to take out Daniel Kelly. And I see them both moving forward, and Brunson clipping him or getting a well-timed takedown and taking him to the floor and finishing this up with some ground and pound in the first round. If not the first round, the second round, first round knockout / TKO. for Brunson. Really high on him, as like I said, I have 4.5 units with him and Volkanovski, and I'm also looking to put another 2 units on inside the distance on Brunson. So I'm really, really high on Brunson. Probably my most confident pick, him and Volkanovski, for this whole card. And last but not least, we have reached the main event. Derek, the Black Beast Lewis versus Mark Hunt. Now, Derek Lewis throws with some serious fucking power, guys. As you guys all know, he knocked out, well, not, you guys might not all know this, he knocked out Travis Brown, with like just touching him, barely touching him, it looked like, but he hit him on the top of the crown, fucked up his equilibrium. And when he's in that full mount, heavy top position, man, you can't get him off of you. It feels like, it's like, I haven't seen anybody being able to stop his ground and pound. He has a questionable gas tank, even though like he looked all right against Shamil Abdurakhimov, who took him down relentlessly for like 3 rounds, and then the 4th round he finally took down Shamil and finished him. Wasn't super impressed by that performance. He keeps his hands low. He's really good off his back to get back up to his feet. Like when he decides to get up, he just gets up. Really, it doesn't matter who's on him. Might matter if Hunt is there, but Hunt doesn't really go for takedowns at all. What else can I say about Derek Lewis? Like, most of his strikes are telegraphed most of the time. If you see, he'll throw like a looping uppercut, and against a guy who's a really good seasoned K1 like striker, you know, like probably the best striker in the heavyweight division, Mark Hunt. Great chin. I know he's been compromised the last few fights against Alistair and Brock, but like other than that, man, he's fighting in his hometown, so the place is gonna be fucking roaring for him. They're gonna go insane for him. He has a beautiful, nice jab and uppercut combo, beautiful punches, good takedown defense. So if like Derek Lewis does try to press him up against the cage, and take him down, his takedown defense is pretty fucking good, Mark Hunt, and he's good at getting back up. But I don't know how that's gonna play. I think this is gonna be standing most of the time. If this moves into the later rounds, I really give it to Hunt because he's the more well-conditioned guy. He's gone 5 rounds many times. Throws some heavy leg kicks, some heavy kicks to the body as well. Even though he keeps his hands low, he has pretty good like head feints and good movement. Very good timing on his shots. Nasty like shots to the body. Always like whether it be a liver shot with his like a nasty hook or a nasty leg kick. And I see that being a factor to Lewis because Lewis got hurt by Travis Brown by some kicks to the body. He's well conditioned, like I said, for a heavyweight, and I see him in his hometown of in New Zealand, in Auckland. I see him probably 3rd round knockout for Mark Hunt. I see him catching Derek Lewis with a heavy body kick and then a nasty uppercut or a jab uppercut combo, and then putting out Derek Lewis and everybody fucking screaming for Mark Hunt. That's about it. I think the hype train on Derek Lewis is going to stop, and I think Mark Hunt's the perfect guy to do it. I know he's a little bit older in age, but man, the heavyweights they're like dinosaurs over there. They have power for years, so like I'm not worried about that. I took the 1.5 unit shot on him for inside the distance at plus 130. So I do like Mark Hunt quite a bit here, guys. So I'm going with him. And yeah, so Auckland should be very happy with that main event if my prediction comes right and he wins. Especially if he wins by knockout, probably. Well, he wouldn't be the first guy to knock out TKO Derek Lewis, but I see it happening as Sean Jordan did it before. But I do see it happening, guys. I do like Mark Hunt quite a bit in this one. So let's recap the bets real quick before we leave. We got 1.5 units on Mark Hunt here for inside the distance at plus 130. We got 4.5 units on Derek Brunson and Alexander Volkanovski to win like 4.17 units. We got 1 unit on Dan Hooker, Ian Cutelaba, and John Moraga to win 2.74 units, I believe. And we got 2.5 units on Alexander Volkanovski and Zach Ottow to win 2.1 units, I believe. And probably gonna put 2 more units on Brunson inside the distance. So those are all my plays, guys. Pretty confident. Pretty juiced for this one. We'll be back next week for UFC Singapore. Holly Holm versus Betch Pereira. Got a couple plays in there that I really like. Maybe some max bets even. But until then, you already know it's the Sebs Show. Gotta give my shout outs before we go. Shout out to UFC Bro Picks, my man Justin, fucking Ricky Jitsu, Will Martin MMA, James Lynch Sports, he does great interviews. Dan Levy at Half the Battle and Best Fight Picks, he's awesome. Of course, you gotta go with my boy MMA Kelton. Watch the breakdown he just did with UFC Bro Picks actually last night. Great stuff there. Dan Levy had a great interview with, if you're looking at bet, Damian Brown and Pichel. He interviewed both of them, and he interviewed Dan Kelly as well, if you're interested. Great stuff as well by him. And last but not least, my fellow Canadian brother, Rockstar Z, went back to giving out free picks. He was doing very well before, giving out his picks for money. Made a lot of guys money, but it's back to his generous ways, giving you guys free money now. So give him a follow at Rockstar Z on YouTube and Twitter. All these guys, UFC Bro Picks on on Twitter and YouTube. MMA Kelton, Will Martin MMA, James Lynch, Best Fight Picks, that's Dan Levy. And give them all a follow, man. They're great guys. Fucking, we got a great MMA betting community over here. Let's cash these bets, guys. Let's cash these motherfucking bets. UFC Auckland, Fight Night, Lewis vs. Hunt. Let's go. Let's get it. Till next time, UFC Singapore, the Sebs Show. We're out. Choo-choo.